All right, I have no idea how long this training is going to take. This is the first time that I've done it. So I'm going to actually, uh, before I share my screen and we jump into the training, how are we doing this week on our targets, our optics? Let's chime in on the channel. Are you guys on track? Are you off track with your Blue Agent recruiting, your marketing, each one of the KPIs? So just the on track, off track, where you're at. And you should have your KPIs that you want to accomplish each day saved on your calendar so that you can do a daily check-in on each one of those. Show you guys what I started doing. Share this screen. So for me, created all the metrics for all the departments that we want to hit. And then I type those in each day. And this is what software is working on automating for me. So I literally see how much biz dev we got going on, what marketing's doing, what sales is doing, all the way through to how that financially impacts us with spiffs, residuals, and equity earned on a daily basis. And I'm doing this so that I can give them a report so they can create the automation. So for you, right, what are those KPIs each week that you want to hit? And then how are you doing on a daily basis to perform and hit those? So, and then saving that a date or putting a calendar block on your calendar, blocking it out on your calendar so you can fill that in either in the evening or in the morning is how you get that routine established. All right. So with that being said, and let's see, Johnny, you there?
Yes, yes.
Beautiful. How you doing? You on track or you off track?
I'm still off track at the moment. I'm catching up. Got a 9 o'clock with Derek, so I could be on track.
Beautiful. Jamin had indicated yesterday that you and him were running some Blue Agent meetings. So how are you doing toward working up to your 2 to 3 presentations a week?
I actually had 5 set up this week. So another 2 today and then another tomorrow.
Beautiful. That is great. So the activity, how much activity did you have to put in as a new guy to set 5 meetings to present our Blue Agent program?
I think I did like a good 15 touches, and out of those 15, 5 jumped on board.
So 33%. That's pretty amazing. Using just a short hook message to book 5 meetings, right? And I say it's amazing. It's actually pretty common just to send those out. So you and Lewis, make sure that you guys chime in the All Squads channel. All right. So let's see. P2 setup in decision maker commitment SOP. Okay. So this is going to be a conversation that we have as we walk through setting up the P2 and to get the decision maker to come to the meeting, right? If you've ran an audit with us, you will know that the majority of the time, 75% or better, we are meeting with strong influencers, meaning the IT director or an office manager, right? A right hand to the CIO, the CTO, or the CFO that is going to, if you win this person over with your solution, they're going to highly influence the decision that is going to be made. Now, before we jump into this, what are some problems that we could run into with this?
They don't show up. Resistance. DMs may not even know that these guys are looking.
Okay. DMs may not know they are even looking. Resistance from the DM when the influencer discusses it. What else?
They don't agree that it's a problem. So the problem identified by the influencer, they don't agree with.
Don't agree that it's a problem. What else?
Influencer ego.
What do you mean by that?
So the influencer thinks that they're the decision maker, or they don't want to admit that they can't make the decision.
What else? Keep going. You guys are crushing it. What about no reality to where the discussed projects are with the decision maker in regards to when they will allow them to get done? What about no reality around the budget for discussed projects, or no reality around the contract and commitment to the current IT solutions that are in place, making any discussions right now a viewpoint?
So I guess what you're saying, Scott, is none of us actually see reality. We only interpret what we see and call it reality. Others see the same thing and interpret it differently.
So these IT directors, office managers, right? They may not have insight, right? No reality to what is actually possible right now in regards to budget, in regards to where they're at with the contract, right? And where the discussed project falls in line with priorities, right? Of a CTO, a CIO, or a CFO that may oversee these decisions, right? So if these are problems with presenting to the non-DM, okay? How should we proactively address this? Well, that is what our discussion today is going to be about, right? How do we set up the presentation to address the potential roadblock of us getting what we want with each audit that we run, no matter who it is with, okay? So that is what we're going to talk to, how we solve these problems for ourselves as consultants, okay? So these things do not happen. So as we dig into this, right, we're going to write the SOP out of the steps. Plan together. You have to have all the tools that you plan to use as a part of this process, okay? So what do you think the first thing that we need to have prepared as we go into a P1, right? What are some of the things that you should have pulled up on your computer, accessible? What's the first thing?
The PowerPoint presentation.
The PowerPoint presentation on what?
What do you mean on what? On your second monitor, or ready to share?
PowerPoint presentation. We got lots of PowerPoint presentations, right? We want to have the PowerPoint presentation, right, to the end user IT customer, right, on the value of Blue Equinox and our free 5-phase audit, right? So we want to first have the PowerPoint pulled up. All right, so let's see here. If we're going to tell the Blue Equinox story, right, I use the Blue Equinox secret sauce for our customers' eyes only, right? And I walk them through the process, right? And then I explain that there are a ton of products and services. And the way we do it is a free technology audit that strives to do three things: improve your technology, impact your bottom line dramatically, improve your customer experience. And here is the 5 phases. This conversation, we're going to get to know each other. I'm going to get to know you, your company, and your technology. From there, we'll go to a deep dive discovery. And then phase 3, I'll present you with your good, better, best solution, your heat map, your roadmap, and then we'll decide where we go from there. If you like what you see, we'll move to a demo, and then game planning, where our dedicated project managers, account managers are assigned. All right, and then I walk them through the value of Blue Equinox to get them excited about what we do. Okay, that is very quick. Okay, this takes 5 to 10 minutes tops. Okay, what is the second thing that we need to have ready? Our tools.
You need to have the IT audit ready.
Workbook.
Exactly. Customer experience workbook. Customer experience workbook pulled up and already saved in their folder on the public share drive, ready to type in the first questions that you ask. Okay, so what does that look like? Looks like this. All right, so it's pulled up, you're on the customer profile. The questions that are highlighted light green are the most important ones in the section. Okay, this customer experience workbook, all of these questions, let me just tell you, if you were to go down this list and ask verbatim every single one of these, right, you would run out of time every time. You need like 2-3 hours to actually have a conversation about each one of these items. Okay, I ran an audit last Thursday and I invited Doug to sit in on that so he could see how we do those as he's talking to MSPs. All right, because I'm working through perfecting this process. And when I run an audit and I use this questionnaire, I'm asking them their story. I'm asking them about their company, and I'm building a great amount of rapport and relationship on the very front end with them as a person. I'm going to share with you guys an audit that I ran yesterday. I ran a second audit yesterday. So I've ran 2 in the last 3 days, 4 days, whatever it is, 5 days. And yesterday I expressed a ton of enthusiasm and excitement around getting to know him, right? Him and his wife, they met at this company 10 years ago. He worked up to be the executive director, right? He is the decision maker for this facility, but they're a part of a bigger chain. So he does have to run it by a regional director, but he decides for this office, right? He met his wife there, like I said, 10 years ago. They got a beautiful story. He was a social worker, worked his way all the way up, right? And I've just built him up. I was like, man, with a story like that, you got to be CEO of this company one day, right? And then I got into the company. What do, right? They are an assisted living home, the one that I met with yesterday. This Sobel, right? They're a financial institution, right? So financial investing. And I did it in Excel. This is on Google Sheets. So every one of your customer experience workbooks needs to be on Google Sheets. right? So it's a shareable link. It's in the share drive, so it can be accessed. We don't use Microsoft Excel ever again for these audits. So as we are going through here, we're asking the most important questions. How many users do you have? 145, right? Is it, how many servers? 30. Is it Windows or Linux? Like, these are important questions when you're educating the MSP and the cybersecurity engineers about this customer. So, right, you want to ask these. Is it a fully outsourced or hybrid setup? It's hybrid, right? He does the help desk. They outsource the rapid scale server management and cloud management, right? He gave them when we jumped. So I jumped all the way down, right, into managed services after that, right? And I went right into, okay, if you outsource your managed services, we have a rating system here. 1 is garbage. It needs to be taken out. 2 is okay. 3 is good enough, but it could be way better. 4 is great. 5 is exceptional. And I say something funny, like you're saving your firstborn, right? For the owner's eldest son, right? Something like that to make them laugh. When they give this rating, if it's 1, 2, or 3, I hone in on it. Okay. He gave a 3, but he said they're just okay. We talk about it. Okay. What could you do better? What could they do better? Well, they can be proactive versus reactive. Okay, great. Right. I asked a few questions here and then I typed in the biggest problem. Right. For the heat map, no proactive support. It's all reactive. Response time is slow and they give no reporting whatsoever. He never gets a meeting, right? And they never go over reporting, which is a problem. Okay, great. That's it for managed services. Really, I'm flying through that and getting those questions. And then I'm moving on to the next section, cloud. And I don't have all this typed in because I started in Excel, my computer froze up, and then I remembered this is why we never do these in Excel, right? We always type them in the cloud where the data is saved. So I've got to finish filling this out, send it over to the partners today, right? So they have all this information. And I'm going back through and listening to the recording. So you only ask the most relevant questions in each category. And then what I'm also doing is, so this is the customer experience workbook. What is another tool that we're going to use that has recently been created for us during the phase 1 discovery that we're doing with a customer? What do you guys think it is?
Stop signs.
Where did my freaking, oh, I think I pulled this up. There we go. Okay, before that, right, there's another tool as we're educating, asking questions about cybersecurity and cloud services. It's a tool that's recently been created.
Pyramid.
The pyramid of cloud and cyber services. Stop and educate. So here, right, we're gonna say, okay, Mr. Customer, as we're talking about cloud and cyber services, managed services, I just need to take a second here and give you a quick visual so that it can put it in perspective for you. Right. So managed services is responsible. The MSP is responsible for all 3 different areas of IT: managed services, cloud, and cyber. Right. And how we've broken this down is you have your ticketing system, right? That is how you open tickets. Then email security, endpoint protection, mobile device management, backups, and cyber. This is what the MSP is all responsible for. It's all encompassing, okay? And here's good, better, best options for workstation, laptop, server protection, email protection for the different services that exist out in the marketplace. We're going to put these options together for you in our solution design for the phase 3. Cloud, based on your response time that you need, It can either be cold storage all the way up to real time. And then cybersecurity applications, right? There's a minimum foundation that needs to be in place. Patching, firewall, antivirus, anti-spam, offset backup. And then there's even a few of these as you start to improve your cyber stack that need to be implemented because they're very cost effective and they're critical to security today. Advanced email security is going to protect you against spear phishing, right? Cyber awareness training is going to make your employees aware, right? Have it top of mind versus never in their mind. And then password vaults, right? Protecting their passwords versus keeping them saved in Google Chrome. Okay. So those are the minimums that we recommend. So you're going to see these in your presentation during the phase 3. Does that make sense? Right? Does that make sense is a yes question, right? So there's a tool. So the last tool that we're going to use in our phase 1 that we need to have prepared, Andrew said it, is our stop sign presentation PowerPoint. Okay. Pull that up and show you what it looks like. Here it is. So, Mr. Customer, we've identified stop signs throughout our conversation, right? And I'm going to talk to you guys. I'm going to put all this into order and lay it out for you here in a second, right? So that's the 4th tool that we need to have available. Okay, I have 4 monitors, so I have my tools on each screen to where I can literally see them. I don't have to look for them. I can grab them. I can be doing multitasking, doing multiple things at once. Okay, so with that being said, we've got our problems, we've got our tools we're going to use throughout the conversation. All right, the first thing we do going into a phase 1 audit, right? Let's see, is have our tools all opened up and saved, very important, as the customer's name in their folder on Share Drive. So when you're done, you don't have to worry about saving these things, all right, or not having them saved and then losing the data, okay? If you type all this stuff in, you don't have it saved as their name, you shut your computer off, you literally lose it all. You have to go back and re-listen to the conversation. Trust me, I've done it many times. Okay, so here's where this thing starts to, you have to be organized. As you start to ask the questions to the customer, you have to have your stop sign pulled up to where you can literally start typing in the bullets of what their problem is. So, outdated firewall, right? And then so if you have 2 screens to where you can have your customer experience workbook pulled up, here, you don't have to share your screen, right, the whole time with the customer. You could share your screen for the PowerPoint, and then you could stop sharing so they could see you, and you could ask the questions on your primary screen, have them pulled up, and then on your secondary screen, you literally have your stop signs to where you're typing in as you hear relevant information that is a stop sign that they need to consider building or implementing a solution that's going to solve that problem. You literally type those in as you go throughout the conversation, right? So when you're done, it looks like this. You've literally got 8 bulleted items that are cybersecurity problems as you talk through that silo. And there's 6 silos: cybersecurity, managed IT, cloud, managed data, UCaaS, and wireless. Okay. We're going to keep going and we're going to put it all together here. So, second thing is you're asking questions. Following statement. Okay. So how long do you think the questions should take? You've got to time this phase 1 so you don't run out of time, especially if you've got a meeting coming up, right behind it. So how long should you give yourself to ask the questions? Mike?
30 minutes. If I'm gonna get through everything, I want 30 minutes.
Okay. So you've got 30 minutes to ask your most important questions per silo. Now, here's where we get into the meat of this training. At the end of your P1, you're going to set up the phase 2 and the DM commit by making the following statements, showing your stop signs to the customer at the same time. Okay, let me type this in, and then I will say it. So, Jim, as we conclude our phase 1 of the audit process, I want to make you aware of the facts I've already gathered based on the conversation and how that has put together a picture for your company with our audit process and how that's going to play out. You've helped me identify several stop signs in each area of your technology and IT services stack. And I want to show those to you now. Now that we've conducted phase 1 of our audit process, here are the cybersecurity. Always start with the most important one that is the most relevant to them. Coming into this conversation with Sable, right? The reason they took the meeting is to talk about cybersecurity, to talk about the management of their Fortinet firewalls, right? To talk about training. So literally cybersecurity is at the forefront of their minds. So just to touch on these, you've got an outdated firewall, no advanced email security for spear phishing protection, no managed endpoint detection and response, backups done on site. There's no password protection vault in place. No cybersecurity training gets done. You had a breach in December. This company actually did, right? And you're still not doing cybersecurity training. There's no specific cybersecurity insurance in place, and there's no reactive response plan in writing for your company to follow when an attack happens, even though you just had one. And you literally touch on the bullets. Managed services, here's what I'm seeing. Cloud, here's what I'm seeing. And I didn't have time to go through and create this for you guys independent to this customer, but you would literally type these in as you go through the audit in each section, right, so that you have these ready to present. Once you touch on the bullets at the end of, so 45 minutes into the audit, right, here's where we start to close them. Pre-closings positioning are critical to the success of you setting up the phase 2 and getting them to come. Just because marketing books of phase 1 for you doesn't mean the customer is going to come to that. You have work to do. And just because you run a phase 1 doesn't mean a customer is going to come to the phase 2. You have work to do. You have to position and close them. You have to seduce them into the conversation where they can't say no, and there's relevancy for them to come. If you don't create the relevancy, guess what they're going to do? Lie to you. They're going to lie to you and say, yes, let's set up the phase 2. And then they're going to cancel or they're going to postpone and they're not going to come. Okay. So this is how we position. Leaving this on the screen for them to see. Okay. So based on what you see here, would you agree that there's some major areas of concern that we need to address in these different areas of IT? And then shut up. I don't care if they literally sit there and hesitate for a minute. What are you waiting for?
Waiting for them to agree.
To say it.
Say it out loud.
To put it into the universe. To give you the commitment that you can now hold them accountable for. When they say it, when they say, yes, I see that we have some issues, right? And some people might try to not give you a full commitment. right? They may try to say something like, well, we know there's some things that we need to address. This is where you show your certainty and your confidence and you take control. Bradley, hey man, listen, this is where I candidly tell you that I'm not here to tell you what you want. I'm here to tell you what you need to hear. It's why my customers love me. You have major problems in your IT services and tech stack, and your company's on a path for a major breach or data loss because of the way that you're set up. So I want to ask you again, would you agree that there's some major problems that you need to stop and build some solutions to educate and inform yourself and your executives so that you can make a decision either now or in the future? It's a yes or no answer. Have you ever talked to your customer like that before? The answer for most of you is no. But I can tell you right now, when you start, you're going to gain their respect right then and there. And you're going to let them know that you're not there to waste your fucking time. I don't know about you, but I don't like working for free ever. Because if you piss this customer off, if he says no at any point right now, what have you just done?
Weeded him out.
Weeded him out.
Move on.
You weeded him out, right? You saved yourself about 5 hours of work. 5 hours of work that you could have been prospecting blue agents, talking to customers that actually have problems that they know they have and they want your help. How many customers have you met with and you, as you're there, you feel like, man, they're just really not appreciating who I am and what I do in my time right now. Like this is just going through the motions for them. Those people don't get my time. Like once I sense it, I address it. How many people like ignore the elephant in the room because they don't want that to be the facts and the reality, right? It's like being fat and telling yourself, just don't think about it, right? Don't look in the mirror. Eat what you want. It's a freaking story that you're telling yourself, but you really are fat. Address the problem. Expose it. So get their commitment one way or the other. Like you're looking for a commitment right here. This will tell you whether or not they're engaged and interested in what you have to say. Okay, so we get the yes. When they say yes, perfect. With that being said, the next thing is I need to make you aware of 2 policies that we have here at Blue Equinox. Okay, policy number 1 is pretty simple and we feel like it's fair and it makes a lot of sense. We need to get your verbal that, Mr. Customer, you agree to not take our information and our education that we're going to give you and your company and go shop us and do business somewhere else without at least giving us the opportunity to competitively bid on your services to become your IT consulting firm. Can you commit to that? Does that sound fair? What do you think they're going to say?
Sure.
They're here. They're engaged. They're interested. You've let them know that we do a free audit, right? And the way that we get paid here at Blue Equinox is when we build solutions that impact your business and you move forward, right? We get compensated each month as a result of that. So there's incentive there for us to help keep you happy and your services working. So they know that. They've been educated. So it's very important to you and your livelihood that they understand that, yes, you're doing this for free, but you intend to build solutions that make sense for them to move forward with. Okay. So when they say yes to that, okay, great. Thank you for that. Okay. It's an easy request, right? It's not us sending something over in writing that you have to sign. These phone calls are recorded, these Zoom meetings, right? So we have a record of it. We've asked you, right? We've told you it's recorded when you come on the line in the beginning, so we could actually hold them to this, right? If we wanted to. Now, we're never going to do that, right? If a customer doesn't give us an opportunity and does business with someone else, that is a waste of our time. Nothing is going to come out of that. Okay, but it positions them and it puts their commitment out into the universe. Now, policy number 2, and Logan, this is a big one. Okay, policy number 2 is that we ask for your permission to make you look like the rock star that you are to your executive team. Do I have your permission, Logan, to make you look like a rock star?
Hell yeah.
Beautiful. Now, I need, and I thought you'd say that, I need you to understand, here's how we do that. Your job is to manage IT and all the moving parts you have going on inside of your department and with the end users that you have to manage. My job is to do discovery. Let me pull this over just so you guys can see it as I'm reading. I'm going to send this to you guys after we're done. Okay. My job is to do discovery, expose major stop sign issues for companies, build solutions that solve their problems permanently, and explain the benefit physically and emotionally, the cost, right, to the company and the IT team that is leading the company if they do not do these solutions. So with that being said, our second policy requires us to have a member of the executive team present during the phase 3 meeting that we schedule typically 2 weeks out from now. So before you answer, in order to receive a free 5-phase audit worth $5,000 in value, a good, better, best solution in each silo of IT that addresses each one of these stop signs that I've indicated here, a heat map giving you the visual of each one of them, a roadmap that shows you the timeline to implement, can you commit to bringing at least one member of the executive team to our phase 3 presentation, tentatively 2 weeks from today? If we need to move it a day or two based on their availability, that's fine. We can absolutely do that. Can you commit to that for me, Logan? Because this is my livelihood. This is how I make my living. And you manage IT, and I paint beautiful Picassos of IT solutions. And you wait. If they are serious, if they are in the market for what we do and solving problems that we've just identified, they know that we want to give them all the glory. We want to build them up to look good, like they came to us and we put all the solutions together, right? We're going to do all that. But we cannot present to a company that isn't serious. We can't present to a person that doesn't have the balls between their legs to go ask for the solutions to be implemented because it solves these major problems that they're responsible for, but they don't care because they don't own the P&L and it's not their company at the end of the day. They could just go get another job if the company burns to the ground. We got to get to a person that these things matter to. Because guess what? They're not educated and informed, so they don't know that they have a problem the majority of the time. So when you ask this question, can you commit to bringing at least one member of the executive team? When they say yes, and they're going to say yes, when you paint the picture and position yourself and you create the relevancy of why these problems exist, you're going to get their name so you know who will be coming to the meeting, right? They haven't let that person know more than likely that they're taking this audit, so you can't get their email and just forward the invite to them as well 2 weeks out. You need to give them the opportunity to explain the audit. The phase 2 is going to happen next week. The phase 3 is 2 weeks out. In order to receive this 5-phase audit, they have to have a member of the executive team there, and then they can schedule it. If it needs to change, no problem, because it's just you and them. But you're going to put a placeholder on the calendar 2 weeks out for the phase 3. Tell them that. So next week, we'll do the phase 2, a deep dive discovery with the engineers. From there, we'll be in a position to build everything out and present to you and your executive leader the week following. If that date needs to change, that's just with me. We're not having a whole team of engineers come to the phase 3 presentation. So I'm flexible. We can move it based on your executive schedule. But you do not present without that executive there. I'm sorry, Mr. IT director, Mr. office manager. As much as I'd love to, these calls are recorded. If I were to get audited, right, like I could lose my position here at Blue Equinox as a brand ambassador if I broke protocol. Blame the company, blame me, right? Blame whoever you want to keep you the good guy so that you don't lose rapport with this influencer if that's who you're presenting to. Okay? Create the reasons why they have to bring them. If they want the information, if they want the education, if they're serious, they're going to commit and they're going to bring them. If they're not, thank you for not wasting my time. You were just all talk, right? You weren't a serious player. Okay. Once you get their name of who they're going to be bringing, okay, at that point, you thank them for their time. You let them know that you're going to show a strong sense of urgency and you're going to follow up, right, with an email to where they can start to upload their bill copies and their contracts so that you can start to do your due diligence, reviewing all of those items so that when you come to this phase 3 to present, you're going to be able to show them the solutions, the cost analysis, right, speak to the contract terms that they have in place today, if they're able to share those with you, and really show relevance to why they need to do business with you. And the decision maker is going to be right there. So there's not going to be the problem of you dealing with all of the things that we outlined. And with 4 screens, tend to lose where I type those. So whiskey, shut up. Let me see where are those at. Okay, so questions, comments, feedback. What do you guys got? Where are you guys at right now?
Scott, this goes to one of the very first things that I learned coming aboard Blue Equinox, and it's this. We are coming from a place of abundance, not from a place of need. And how often, I don't know, I'll just speak for myself. Throughout my career, I've begged people for appointments. I'm so grateful that I get in, that by God, no matter what I need to do, I'm gonna present, even if it's to the owner's dog, right? And this is an entirely different way of thinking. It's like, you know what, dude, I got 3 more behind you I need to get to. If you're gonna waste my time, tell me now, kill me fast so I can move on with my life. That is transformational. You know, again, I can only speak for me. I would imagine there's 1 or 2 other guys here that probably feel that same way, but that is so huge.
Beautiful. Great share, Brad.
Thanks.
Along with what Bradley said, it's really a matter of, do we see value in ourselves and the information we're presenting? And I think if we see value, then this is a great approach.
Exactly. Right. Your time is too valuable to waste. Right. You're building a kingdom. You have 168 hours in your week. Right. Your core 4 is extremely important to you. You got up this morning. Right. You deposited your body. You spent some time with God or clearing your mind with some meditation. You fixed your wife a cup of coffee, and now you're here to get fucking paid. And if you don't want to help with that, Mr. Customer, guess what? Thank you for your time. Congratulations on the hour of my 168 that you received this week as a free deposit into your life, into your world, into your universe. I'm out. But if you want to keep colliding with me, if you want to create value, build rapport, create a relationship, and gain a strong member of your team that's going to have 24/7, 365 availability to you for anything that you need, I'm going to be your concierge. That I'm the guy you want to be talking to further about the things that we've discussed here today. And you be passionate, you be certain, you be confident, right? You exude those things, and it's contagious, right? It's contagious. I don't care, right? If you're talking to a customer, your wife, your kid, right? Anybody in your life, if you're confident and certain, right? That is attractive It causes people to resonate towards you, right? And to want to continue conversation with you. So you just got to stick to your gun, stick to your position, right? Coming into the conversation, you cannot fold, right? We all know what it's like to be in the heat of the moment with any of those scenarios. And the easy thing for you to do in the moment is just to say, okay, to give in, right? To soften on your position. If you do that here on this phase one, if the IT director, let's talk about rebuttals for a second. If the IT director says, hey, listen, man, this has been great, super informative, the stop signs make sense, but there's no way I'm going to get my CTO or CIO to come to a phase three. They're too busy. Mike, I completely understand that you feel like they're too busy right now. Everyone is too busy until they see the relevancy of why this meeting needs to take place, the significant impact it's going to have on the world. So what I'd like to ask your permission to do, right, is to reach out to your CTO, your CIO, and share the findings in our phase one, send them an email, CC you on it, and ask them when it would make sense for them to come to a presentation based on what you and I have put together so far and what we will put together with the engineers. If you give me that permission to reach out to them, I'll do that today. We get their commitment, we'll conduct the phase two, and then we'll meet with them in the next 2 or 3 weeks based on their availability. But I cannot conduct the phase two, meet with you in a phase three without having a member of your executive team there. I'm happy to do that, get their commitment myself, right? And give you all the glory, make you look like the rock star, but we have to have them there. And if they say, hey, look, if you can get them to commit, I'm completely fine with that. Well, guess what? That's what my job is to do. With your blessing as an influencer inside the organization that you see value in what we've discussed here today, I am very confident that I'm going to get them to come to our presentation. It may not be 2 weeks from now. It may be 2 months from now. But guess what? We have came far enough, investing in marketing, investing in this phase one, gathering these facts, knowing what I know, that I'm going to help you solve the problems, that when your CTO or CFO commits, and I will follow up because I'm a consistent son of a bitch, to get them to the meeting this month, next month, 3 months from now, 6 months from now, I will get them there. You will become a customer of mine because you have significant problems and I'm going to solve them. And that's it. That's your rebuttal to their excuse that they're too busy, they're not going to come, right? If they say, hey, look, I present everything to the customer, I get it, but you've never been given a free $5,000 5-phase audit like we put customers through to expose problems. Again, like I said, no disrespect, but you're an IT manager inside of this company that you work for. I'm a consultant for hundreds of businesses like you. This is what I do. It's my profession. You wouldn't go to LeBron James and say, hey, man, pass me the ball. Let me go out and lead the Lakers to victory. Don't do that with me because I am the LeBron James of what I do. You guys getting this?
Yep.
Same thing with partners, right? Same thing with partners. I met with Matt yesterday evening. We did an onboarding for a Blue Agent, presented the Blue Agent plan, showed them why people become brand ambassadors. I'm going to be sharing that with you guys later. Walk them through the expectations, spoke with certainty and confidence in everything that we are and do here and how we're going to work toward creating this $250,000 business model for them over the next 5 to 6 years, showing them the ramp each year. If they bring 20 customers and they give one a month to get one a month, 3 a quarter, we will hit these marks. We will accomplish these results. This will happen for you. The Blue Agent at the end is like, man, I'm so excited to get this list put together, to leverage the appointment setters, to go out and to run these first 20 with you guys. Right? This is the best deal ever. To give a deal, to get a deal that's extremely fair, right? And if things go well as the Blue Agent, right? I can't wait to get out of my W-2 and to become a brand ambassador once I hit the KPIs that I need to in order to accomplish that. It was the perfect Blue Agent onboarding. right? Go do that 30 times, gentlemen. Each one of you right now, go do that 30 times and get people's commitment as they're doing their day job, whatever they do to make money. They're thinking of you because they're thinking of themselves. How do you get their story to become your story? Right? You as a brand ambassador, my story is now your story. How do you get your story to become their story so that you are top of mind all day, every day with what they do? As they do that, whatever it is, they come across an opportunity or they're searching opportunities that they can bring to you, pull you in because it benefits them. They're not doing it for you because they like you. They're doing it for you because of the benefit that it brings to them, because you've educated and informed them with certainty and confidence, and you're consistent. That's it. That's all you got to do. That's all you got to be. All right. Any other questions about setting up the phase 2 and setting up the decision maker to come to the conversation, right? Setting up the phase 2, right, is in bringing each one of these vendors, right? We want to confirm that, right? I spent the majority of the time talking about the decision makers, but as we point out the stop signs, right, one of the things we want to do, and I'm going to share my screen here again. So after we go through and we get their commitments and they say yes to these things, right, we want to pull back up these stop signs here and say, okay, now that I've got your commitments on our policies, this next part's also very important. Okay. I'm going to bring a cybersecurity engineer. I'm going to bring a managed IT engineer. I'm going to bring a cloud engineer. Each one of these engineers are going to come to this conversation and we're going to orchestrate the perfect symphony. Okay. And what I mean by that is this. Come on, Scott. So one last tool that we want to have available to pull up. What I mean by that, Mr. Customer, is this. You show them this agenda. Here's an example of an agenda on a phase 2, okay? I'm going to bring these vendors in at different points in time to talk about their silos and the technologies that they're experts in, right? This is after I got them up to speed here. Every 15 minutes, I'm going to have them come in, right? The MSP is going to be a part, right, of the cloud and the managed service conversation. And then we're going to knock out the bandwidth and the UCAS all in 15 minutes. Those are short conversations. In an hour's time, I'm literally going to cover cybersecurity, cloud, managed services, bandwidth, and UCAS solutions for you and your company so that I can go build these solutions. These people's time is where the $5,000 comes into play. It's $1 million in payroll that we typically have on these calls, right, for these phase 2s in different increments. So please, Mr. Customer, confirm that next Thursday at 2 o'clock, same time today, next week, absolutely works for you, because we're going to speak with each one of these individuals. And do you see relevancy in each one of these conversations? Get their commitment, right? I had a conversation yesterday with our MSP partner in LA, and he was like, look, you know, I come to the meeting, but I don't feel like there's an MSP opportunity there every time. We've got to do a great job of confirming with the customers at the end of the P1 that, hey, there's a real opportunity here for managed services, and we're going to have a conversation with a managed service provider to show you an alternative solution to what you're doing today, right? It could be just a backup solution, because you need to have a backup solution for when really bad things happen, like someone dies or an IT company, right, loses their mind and they no longer are taking care of you the way that you need them to. You need a go-to. So worst case scenario, we need to go through the motions, have this conversation on managed services, quote it out so that you can see the relevancy of that compared to what you have today. And now what did you just do? You got the commitment for them to meet with the MSP and to receive a quote from them. So I'm going to quote on these 2 audits, I'm going to quote managed services, cloud, and cyber. we will see when I present how that compares to what they're doing today, if it's within budget, and if it closes. But marketing has done its job. You have done your job to earn the marketing dollars because you have brought the MSP to the conversation, and it has resulted in quoted services in their funnel. And the law of averages says that if we put enough business in the funnel and we're consistent and persistent, opportunities will start to drop. So you have to do it all the way through completion though. And you have to get the customers buy-in that they're willing to have these conversations. They need to know how important these people coming are, because if they just think it's you and you don't have their commitments, if they didn't put that out into the universe, they could blow your phase 2 off. And now you've got 3 or 4 vendors that their time, right, was scheduled out to be here. And now all of a sudden it's not happening and you wasted their time, right? They could have had something else planned to have a positive ROI for them. And too much of that is a problem for our program. So once you confirm the policies, confirm the players that you're bringing to the phase 2, show them the agenda, how methodically laid out it is. And the customers should be excited about what is to come next. It creates some mystery, right? They're like, wow, man, this is methodical. This is orchestrated beautifully. I look forward to this conversation, seeing what this heat map and this roadmap you talk about is going to look like. Good, better, best option. Like, I have no idea all the places you could put that together from. Like, they're intrigued, they're interested, and that's what brings them back time and time again. Okay, gentlemen, it is the top of the hour. I went over, so I'm gonna save my fuel for next week, but I'm gonna roll out videos of this. Take the time to watch them, okay? See how I do a phase 1. See how I set it up. See how I get the decision maker commitment. All right, see how I run a phase 2. I'm gonna be sharing videos all week, every week, as I run audits with these new protocols in place, right? So that we can perfect them. You're going to be running meetings with coaches until you're on your own, but eventually in the coming weeks, right, you will be doing these on your own. It is time to fly, to spread your wings and fly, right? This is why you came here, is to run 5-phase audits, earn marketing dollars, propose and sell IT services. And this is how it's done. So take the time, watch the videos as I share them. Have a beautiful day, gentlemen. I will catch you on the flip side.
Thanks, Scott.
Yeah.